But if someone like wanted to have an on-road, off-road sort of something they could use for, they could register it, or even
Hmm.
maybe they don't have to register it, I don't know. And they could use it during the week to commute, on the weekend for a bit of off-road. Is there anything on the market for that?
Yeah, for sure. I would say that, and it's also highly dependent on who is listening right now. Where do you live? Because the manufacturers, like some of the same bikes, are not street legal in the U.S. as what you would get in Europe or even
Yeah.
Australia. And so, I'm going to speak. I'll start with just kind of what I would recommend to US riders because that's where we're based. But the Zero FX is, in my opinion, the best dual sport for that type of thing because it's platable. You can put a license plate on it, legally ride on the road. It's got decent range. It's a relatively heavy bike. It's pushing almost 300 pounds, but it's more of a dual sport kind of oriented bike. So it's a little bit more street oriented, a little less dirt, but it'll still get the job done if you want to take it off road a little bit.
Mm.
So I think that is like if you're going to do a crossover bike, that's the one that I would pick. But for you, if you're in Australia or back in Spain, you could get a Suron Stormby, which
Okay.
is the full size Suron, and that is a bit more dirt oriented, but I believe you're able to plate that in both of those countries. And honestly, the same goes, I believe, for the KTM Freeride EXC. You can also plate those in Europe and Australia. So
Because I kind of think like if I was looking at an e-moto, I think I'd be
yeah,
looking at something like a plate because
yeah,
I could get to the trails without having to put it in my camper van, which would be a pain in the ass. And I could also use it to do the groceries and just have a bit of
hmm,
fun, have a little zip out, like I think I think that's probably the market for me. And probably a lot
totally,
of riders out there. Like it would be, if you're not, I wouldn't be necessarily looking for a performance bike. I think it'd be more like a bit of fun and it does have capabilities of going off road. So that's good. That's good
yeah,
to
for
know.
sure. I'm gonna throw one more in there before we move on because it
Yeah, yeah.
hasn't come out yet. But Suron has the Ultra B, which is like basically their bike in between. It's their midweight bike, so it's in
Okay.
between their full size Storm and their lightweight Light B, and it'll should be out in a couple of months here. And I believe in Europe and Australia that'll be street legal. It won't be here in the U.S., but if
Why is
that
that?
bike lives
Just
up to its name, it's going to be a great option for a
okay.
dual sport.
Who
Yeah.
owns Sauron?
Well, they're their own company,
Okay.
but they're a
Chinese?
Chinese based company.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought for some reason that who was the company that did the two-wheel like
Oh, you're thinking the Segway.
Segway? I thought Segway
Yeah.
owned them for some reason.
So they were originally like a large shareholder of the company, but I believe they've split ways since, and so yeah, the Surround's a standalone company as far as I know.
And Legend Riders, I hope you enjoyed that small clip from the podcast I did with Tucker talking about the top 5 electric motorbikes on the market in 2023. If you want to see more of that podcast, click on the link up here or here. I'm not sure where it is, but you're going to love it. And riders, thanks for your support. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so and share it with like-minded people.